So we're with the expert here, Angel now. Angel, the expert talker. I've called him a lecturer today. So hello, Angel.
Doing pretty well. I would never consider myself an expert because an X as it has been, and a spurt is a drop of water under pressure. But in either case,
You're an expert to me.
I do. I do think I've probably invested as much time, if not more, than the average person. And in some cases, I see people who call themselves experts, and when I ask them questions about the structure,
and they don't know anything.
They give me blank stares. I think I told you this once. There was a gentleman I spoke to that was in Canada, and he said that he went over there to learn about Egyptology, and he spent 2 years over there and got a degree in Egyptology. And I started asking him about some of the features of the structure, and his answer to me was like, I don't know, I never went in them. And I'm like, you went over there for 2 years to be an expert on, see, my goal is the structure. I don't care about Egyptians. I don't care about Egyptian history and what pharaoh.
Well, it probably doesn't belong to all them anyway. They inherited it, didn't they?
I believe so, yes. I think they
didn't
wound up in their backyard. But,
no, Angel, you've taught me so much. Like, I didn't realise that they were all on different levels. And you've taught me, you know, that they all worked, when they were working together, even though they were on different levels. The bits inside equalled up. I hadn't realised till the other day that, because I kept thinking, well, they always say it's a bigger pyramid, but you don't really see it. And that's because a third of it is lower in the ground, and they don't show you that. But it is. It's dug out, and it's lower, isn't it, Angel?
Yes. There are pieces and parts that are, some of the important parts are actually below the ground level.
Do you think that whole plateau has pipes in it, or it's just certain bits of it?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
There's tanks under there and pipes taking all this stuff off.
Oh, well, there are definitely pipes, conduits, whatever you want to call them. Even Bren Forrester and a couple of other people have pointed out that the myriad of tunneling and conduits that go underneath the Giza plateau. Some of them are huge, 7 feet by 7 feet. They go on for, I'd even say
just
miles.
Just it's 300 years ago or 3,000 years ago that they made these things. It's still quite amazing that they were able to do all that 300 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Even more amazing.
Yeah.
There's a spaceship. They're showing a picture here with a spaceship on top of the pyramids. Oh, dearie me.
Well, they love to give you a mental image of things, because that way you have an image that distracts you from what I feel is the truth. But
and also, you taught me about the little pyramid. I'll show you which one it is onto the people on here where I just saw the things. Where are you? Here's a. So these are the three little. Well, this one here, the one that's more. Was it the one on the left or the one on the right?
For whatever reason.
No, the room that's got the.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh no, I was just doing a picture on here. But one of those little pyramids is the one they don't allow you in anymore, and you can see all the water levels in it.
Yes, the one next to the Great Giza Pyramid, it is the one furthest to the south.
That one then. That's the most damaged one, to be honest.
Well, I guess you could say that, but it definitely has internal structure.
Yeah.
And it is unique in that way.
Right.
I don't think I haven't come across any other ones that have internal structure, but I also haven't had the ability to peruse the plateau myself. I can only pretty much peruse off of the Google guy.
Do you think that you'd find any more information going there? Because I mean, I know it's better if you do go there. It is, but you know so much about the pyramids and have looked at so many videos. Look at look at your channel. I showed it in one of the videos. How many videos you've got about the pyramids?
I may stumble across other stuff. However, they're not going to let me go into all the areas I want to go into and let me do the things I want to go, and I'm probably not going to have the money to grease the right palms. I would rather go as a tour with a couple of the people that grease the palms and stuff, and I would, that's what I'd like, is just to go there repeatedly and try to get into areas where they're not going to let you. I don't think they're going to let anybody go up above the Grand Gallery.
Suddenly we see this video
anymore.
of you running up the stones.
Yeah,
Look,
I would probably
Angel!
get arrested for that too.
Okay, I'll ask you something then. Out of the 3 pyramids,
Sure.
which is your favourite one? Or are they all your favourite?
Well, I think the one they call the Great Giza Pyramid, the one that has the most internal pieces, would really be my favorite, because
What's that, the middle one or the one with the capstone on?
I don't think any of them have a capstone.
Well,
but,
what I mean is, sorry, it's got like bricks at the top of it. That one.
Yes, the one that has the rock garden on the top.
Yes, there you go. So it's the middle one then, basically.
Now the middle one.
No, it's the one on the. So you're looking at the smallest one then.
The northern one.
Oh, next to the 3 little
one.
pyramids, or the one at the other end.
Correct. The one. The
one up the other end. That's the one you do the most drawings on, isn't it? When you do anything.
Correct.
Let's get a picture of that. So what's that one called then? The Great Giza Pyramid.
That is the one that they like to call the Great Giza Pyramid. However, many times people use the picture of the center one when they say the Great Giza Pyramid, and really, it depends on who calls it what, because there is, I don't think, any true. Well, no. When they say the king did this and did that and had the progression and blah blah blah, they're always talking about the northern one, because that is the one that has the funniest shape. That's the one that has the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, the grand gallery, that whole bit. So that is the one they always refer to as the Great Giza Pyramid, even though if you look at even books and stuff, they show the middle picture, the middle pyramid, the externals of the middle pyramid, because that's the one that has the nicest looking shape.
Yeah, I see it. Great Giza Pyramid, and it's a different one. Yeah, I see that on here. Sorry, just to show people. Look, just on there, they've used the Great Giza Pyramid, but it's actually the one with the stones on the top. Ah.
So people aren't even consistent that are experts, or so-called experts.
I showed a picture there. It's taller than, where is it? It's taller than Big Ben. It's taller than what's the thing that's out in the water with the torch in New York? What's that? The Liberty, and it's taller
Statue
than
of Liberty.
It's taller than the thing in Italy. I think they're quite big, aren't they? They're bigger than you think they are, to be honest.
They are big, which is part of the reason why when people say there was a capstone on the top, when you're staring at it in pictures and stuff, you don't realize the true scope of the size of this. So mentally you can picture having a capstone on there. But when you realize that capstone would be the size of a dump truck, not the size of a Volkswagen, it really changes, or should change, your opinion of mentally seeing a capstone on there. And then if they actually take the time to show you pictures of what it looks like up there, and you see that there's actually a rock garden up there with distinctive structure. Do you think that was,
just asking you, do you think that was someone mending it, or do you think the whole thing was covered in a layer of bricks or something, whatever that is, and they have fallen off?
I don't think it was covered in a layer of bricks. If it was covered in a layer of bricks, just hypothetically, if it was covered in a layer of bricks, it would negate one of the primary features of the construction of the structure, the way it was built with wave patterns within the surface, and that's something that they don't really want to point out, but it's factual. It doesn't lead or in any way help with the tomb dogma story, so it's not something that people focus on or take into account. but it does exist. It is there, and it actually has function. And when you understand what the function is, it kind of lets you see that if it did have a surface, it would take that function away.
I do see, though, Christian. Christian was earlier on. Angel. That
It's all right.
Sorry about that. It's Angel I'm talking to.
It's all right.
I'm a bit tired today. I don't.
You can call me Angela for all I
don't seem to have much of a memory today. You know, I can't remember anything. Yeah. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. Oh yes. When we, not you, because we know that you've broken it down and you show us all those pictures, and to be honest, you're very clever. I know that, and maybe other people can do it, but you don't. You just write it all. You just know where it all is. You're very clever and organised about all that. But I don't know. I just never realised that. So, which pyramid's the one with the drop on it? The one you like? The Great Giza Pyramid is the one that has. Which is the one that goes down further?
The one that goes down to the lowest subterranean, I think, would actually be the third. The one they like to call the Kirins or something like that.
So is that the one nearest the little pyramids, or the one up the other end?
Well, two of them have little pyramids. Both the one at the north and the one at the south.
Right, but I see. So it's a bit confusing when I say that. Okay, well, it's the one at the end. We'll leave it like that. It's either one at the end. So one of the pyramids goes down, and I didn't even know that. It was only when I was looking at Mickey I realised how. I was like, blimey, it looks like they've mined it. It's just so dark and weird down that bit. And you think, and what it is most people think that they're told that the water comes up to these things, and it didn't. It came up to one of the pyramids that's built down. I reckon a pool of water went round that one, because it's got, you can see it, can't you, like a little moat round it. But the water was down, and the town, see, do you, in this picture here, do you see the town? No, because this plateau is higher than the town. And the water wasn't up here, it was down there. Carry on, Angel.
I believe that the default water level, the water level of the river, which I believe would have been the Nile at the time, would have been, the surface level of the Nile would have been down at the level of the Sphinx. Maybe it would saturate the paws of the Sphinx. However, they probably brought water from a higher elevation in the river and either canaled it down or at some point elevated the water up. And you can't say that they couldn't lift water. If you want to imagine 1,000 people,
well, they were breaking it down, weren't they? So they could probably do anything.
I think they probably did it in a more mechanical type way. But one more time, I'm sorry. What did you say last?
I can't remember now.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I can't remember now what I said. I'm saying all sorts of things. Oh, there it is. I wanted a picture of the Sphinx.
Lost connection.
No, we're here. I'm here. Can you hear me, Angel?
There you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah, I just got a picture of the Sphinx.
I can hear you now.
Up.
We cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry. I've got the picture of the Sphinx up. So, yeah, but that looks like it's been covered in something, doesn't it? Like it was covered in sand. It looks like that, doesn't it? It's got.
I believe for the past several hundred years it had been covered in sand. My understanding is that I mean the current era, when we stumbled across it, the only thing that was exposed was the head, and they dug it out.
What do you think the head is? I mean, you know, you look at it, it's got a human on it. Some people say it's a lion. But what do you think it is? What do you actually think it is on top of the Sphinx? What was it? A human or an animal?
That I don't know. And really...
You don't know? Okay, just asking.
It doesn't... however it's perceived, it really isn't as important to me as how the stuff around it would work. Kind of like the statue they have in front of a large Hadron Collider, you know,
Can I
the
just say one
LHC.
thing? I'm sorry, this might not even be a real
Sure,
picture.
sure.
But they're showing the pyramid with pillars in it. There isn't one like that, there is there, with some pillars on it.
Well, as you've pointed out, there are hundreds of pyramids, and I'm not going to say that one of them doesn't have pillars.
It was on the outside. I'm not sure.
It
looks real. It looks like that's a real photograph, and one of the pyramids has got 2 pillars on it in a wall that looks like it's built onto the pyramid. Well, you'll see it in the video if you watch it.
I highly doubt it's one of the ones on the Giza Plateau. But, as you have pointed out, there are hundreds of pyramids in the area, and one of them could be constructed like that. I am not an expert on all.
Do you want me to show it to you? I'll tell you what, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you so that you can see it. Hang on. One's smaller and one's even smaller. That's weird, that is. Oh, God, they put buildings in that picture along the Nile. It says the Pyramids of Giza, so there would have been other buildings on the Nile taking the water. But it looks, on that, when you see it, you'll see it when it comes on. It's only not a cartoon, but it's just I don't think, it's not a real picture, is it? It can't be. But it's just showing it more like a plant. It just looks like a plant, doesn't it? It definitely looks like a working plant.
Let me see if I can. Again, you're not currently sharing your screen. So
okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you, because I moved the phone as well. What I'll do is I'll take a picture of it and send it. So I'm just going to hang on, everybody. Yeah, see?
Well, I can tell you that's definitely not reality.
You don't think it looked like that?
I could tell you it's not reality because they show smooth images of all the pyramids, and none of them are that way. They all have different surfaces.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself when I was looking at them. I was thinking, oh, they all look damaged differently.
I don't think any of them are actually damaged either.
Oh, well, they look old then.
I think that's the way they were constructed.
Do you think do you think some of the stones are bigger on that pyramid and smaller on that pyramid?
I mean the size. Well, yes, it is definite that on some of them they're smaller. Even on any one of the pyramids, each different levels have different sizes. On all of them there are differences, and they're all that way intentionally to maintain and control the static electricity, which would be naturally deposited on the surface of them.
I mean, I obviously know what your view is because we've had many hangouts about it. But explain your hangout again, because I took it off on your videos. You went through and explained it, and you said this is because it's a working. It's not a tomb. It's a plant. It's a machine.
It's a working machine. Yes. Well, let's just say you have a structure anywhere, and everything on the surface of this earth is going to have static electricity. It all has some degree of static electricity. And it's going to short to earth or not short to earth, depending upon whether you have like insulation between it or not. If you have a metal box with a rubber base and then earth, that metal box is going to get static electricity. And if somebody was to stand on earth and touch the metal box, they're going to become the short, and they're going to get a little zap. You know, I'm told where you currently live is too moist and it doesn't work. And I understand that because they say London fog and it's always moist.
But we've got Silverwood Pyramid up the road, and there's one in Marlborough College, and any big boys' school here has got them. Windsor Castle's got them.
Right.
Buckingham Palace had one originally, because I saw it on a drawing. Originally, it was the same as Windsor. They had a mound. Right. They've taken that mound away, but they call those mounds. But they'd be smaller pyramids. But they were still
right. Well, that goes back to a question I asked you a while ago: is where do you draw the line between the word pyramid and just monolithic structures? Because I don't believe that all monolithic structures are pyramids. But then again, monolithic structures still have their place and still honestly do deserve to be recognized as structures, but they're not all what I would refer to as pyramids. Just because they're a monolithic structure, just because they're a not natural structure, they're large, man-made, they still deserve to be recognized, but that doesn't necessarily, in my mind, make them a pyramid.
The one in Marlborough College is a pyramid. The college say that's a pyramid, and then they won't admit that Silbury Hill's a pyramid, but it is, and they reckon it's older than these.
Like there's I think it's Ukraine or Russia.
But it was made out of limestone. You remembered that because you told me that one in Silbury Hill is limestone, not stones.
Right.
It's just lime. Well, it might be stones on there, but they say limestone. It's made out of limestone.
Right. There are some that.
Can I ask you something?
How
does the grass grow on top of the limestone?
How did what on top of the limestone?
How does the grass grow on top of the limestone?
Well, there'd probably be a sediment of dirt or something. And
well, is that what did it? Is that what we
rock.
include into the floods and everything? That this great big sandstorm came across the whole world and blanked everything out?
I can't say it didn't, but, you know, on the other hand, I can't say it did because I wasn't there.
But it is strange, you know that it's got grass on it. It's quite thick. You don't think, oh, there's a stone under my foot. You don't feel that. It's just grass. It feels like earth.
Right. Well, if you leave anything, you take a driveway, like a parking lot, and you leave it sit there for a half a decade, wind and stuff is going to drop sediment, and the grass is going to start growing to take root in even the smallest amount of dirt. Some weeds will grow on rock. I mean, they really don't need anything except for water, which they can sometimes pull moisture right out of the air, and they'll just lock themselves into the rock. And if you get enough of the weeds growing, it will look like a nice plush, area. But
yeah, but
really,
you know, don't you? When you saw the
quarter inch underground is rock.
When you saw the Sphinx, 3/4 of the Sphinx had sand around it, but the pyramid, Silbury Hill's got grass all over it. And it has that phenomenon there, which I think is really weird. I know that you don't know where it is. I know you've not been there, so you have to just listen. And I've made it quite a few times. I've even shown Mickey. When you stand at the fence, which is the field which adjoins the pyramid, it's kind of, say there's 4 sections of that field, and it's in 1/4 of it over there. But when you're standing in the car park, the pyramid now has grown enormously in size, and it's above the trees. And I said, let me go, because you can see the pyramid from the car park. It's not very far, maybe 100 yards, maybe 150 yards from that fence. You can see the fence from the car park. So when you go to the car park, the pyramid now is 3 or 4 times the size it was in the field. You walk to the fence, it's now over there in the corner. So that's a phenomenon that happens, and loads of people. You know, we were going towards London the other week, and we were on this road near Stansted Airport, and that meant London was 50 miles ahead, but you could see all the buildings. Suddenly I said, look, you can see all the buildings, and then it went, and then as you get closer to London, you never see them again, but you could see them there. So that's that really? Phenomenon again, yes. And I can't remember what his name is now, but he did videos that when you were 20 miles out, you could see all the buildings. And as you get closer, you can't see them because trees are in the way. So you can't see them easily.
I was going to say, because
the further you're away, everything looks a bit bigger.
The trees come into your view, so they block the view, but they'd still be there if you could get the trees out of the way.
Yeah, but I made a few videos about it.
Now, what I liked about the one that's right near you is you could see the area around the base where there are 2 distinctive
like plugs going in, and one coming in. Yeah, one goes in, one comes out, positive and negative.
Right.
It's really weird because that's on a bank. So basically, the road's on top of the bank, and then just at the side of the road, you see these 2. You could imagine they're like 2 leads going into the pyramids or coming out. Either way, and you can definitely see them. I've talked about them a few times on videos because obviously when you're there, you can see them.
Right. If you were able to flood the area, you would have two separate, distinct water water pools. And I think that's important to understanding, or even trying to guess what it did, because I feel that even nature, everything, unless you short them together, everything is going to have a difference in its, the energy it has. It's going to have a difference. Nothing is really the same. There's always a little bit of a difference. And if in some way they found a way to maximize that difference,
well,
then that is a useful form of energy.
This picture's a little bit small, but I just put up Silbury Hill. So there's one of those things coming in and out, and there's the other one. And they really are there. You know, I've walked around this a few good times, and you have to go over that one and over that one. But this one adjoins the pyramid. You could definitely walk straight across onto the pyramid from that one. But that's quite crazy. And, of course, that field does fill up with water.
Now, I also think that, if I remember correctly, the one that's right beside your house, it has a shaft that goes up the center, but didn't pierce the surface.
They found trees down there, and there's a story about people putting trees down there. But why would they do that?
They probably put trees down there to see if it would fall. People in their curiosity. But I think the reason it would have the shaft in the center is kind of the same reason why the third pyramid on the plateau has a shaft down its center, but it's coming from the surface down instead of from the inside up. And that, again, you have to kind of vision everything as the surface is going to have a certain amount of potential energy, and then the water in the shaft on the inside is going to have a different potential energy.
So I've just tapped Floss because I can hear her snoring. You're ruining my video.
Is that a cat or a dog?
Dog.
No.
She's got a little sweatshirt on at the moment with a hoodie on it. I think it's quite funny. You look quite cute, don't you, with your little burgundy, sweatshirt on with a little hoodie. Yeah, anyway, carry on. She's making a noise and looking at me. That dog knows what it's doing. But anyway, carry on, Chris. If you hear any funny noises, it's the dog. Carry on, yeah.
Okay. What?
Yeah, Marie Wheatley, you know what happened there, but anyway, Marie Wheatley, she told me that there was another one of those there then. There was two. Hello, Angel!
I thought it was my dog.
I'm going to use that picture for the front of the video. That's the picture that's going on the Hangout. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much there. That's a very nice picture.
I heard breathing. I thought it was my dog. He's sitting right next to me, and I'm like, what the heck?
So, if I tell you there's two pyramids there, what does that mean for you? Does that change things?
Two pyramids at Salisbury Hill?
And don't forget, there was one in Marlborough, which is about 6 miles away.
Right. Yeah, but if I remember correctly, there's a moat a canal that connects them.
Which one are you talking about? Which one are you talking about?
When the one that's nearest you.
Silbury Hill.
And the one that's okay, and then the other one.
Merlin's Mound. There's a canal to them, you mean? Right.
Right. Isn't there?
I don't know. I've never heard that. I was going to put Merlin's Mound up as we have to have pyramids all over the place. Hang on. Merlin's Mound. Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't. Well,
I don't
know. If I remember correctly, when we were looking at them, it looked like there was a canal that stays at the same elevation the entire way. Then, if it was flooded, if the area was intended to hold a pool of water, then the two structures would have been connected via a conduit of water.
Yeah, in a painting here, it's not a photograph, it says the Marlborough Mound, and it's got trees growing over it, which was a long time ago, but in front of the pyramid is water. I mean, they've done an awful lot of work to it now. I mean, they've probably broken it and ruined it, but they've taken a lot of the trees off, so you see the mound more now rather than trees, because it was covered in trees. It's inside Marlborough College, and none of us can go to it except the people in the college. And just to say, this is a shell grotto. I've done a few things on shells. It had a shell grotto, and it used to have a water tank in it. They put a water tank in it. And
the college is not public property?
A shell grotto. There's a little room down below. There was a shell grotto. The woman that owned it did it, supposedly, but we've heard of those things before. And then someone broke into it in the top. He's English. I watch him quite often. Anyway, can't remember what his name is now. When he went down there, it was all sort of mechanical, where they'd had the water tank and everything. I mean, they've ruined this pyramid. It's already ruined, but, you know, and then when I was watching about this, Marlborough College said that Marlborough was very historic, one of the most historic places in the country. You think, well, I didn't know that. I mean, obviously, I can't be as interested as you, but, you know, they do intrigue me, these things. And I say, I've got two. It's a bit of a shame we couldn't come over here. We could go and see them. It'd be cheaper to come to me.
Eventually, someday when I have nothing but money, I'd like to actually.
Yeah, come on, let's go to Silbury Hill. You'd be going, great.
Did I think I may have mentioned this once, but I was in Illinois, which is in the middle of the country. And one of my friends who I was there with, she said, do you want to go see the mounds? And I'm like, what mounds? She's like, they're big piles of dirt. And that's the way she described them. And at the time I said, I have no interest in seeing big piles of dirt. So instead we went out and we got hot dogs.
Now you wish you'd gone to see the piles of dirt.
Well, after I understood what these big piles of dirt were, yes, I totally wish I went and saw the big piles of dirt. Because they're not just big piles of dirt. They're, if you look at them, they're very, they're piles of dirt that have flat surfaces at different elevations, and they are structurally rectangular and squared. So they're man-made squared structures with flat plateaus on them. They're not just piles of dirt, like somebody took a dump truck and dumped dirt. And yes, I really wish I had gone.
Hey, write this down to look up if you want to know a bit more about Merlin's Mound. I think it's this video. The Marlborough Mound film, YouTube. It's got one of the lecturers in it. I think that's a lecturer. So the Marlborough Mound film, YouTube, it's on. If you put that in, you'll find it.
Okay.
Because they talk quite a lot about Merlin's Mound, about what they found, what they've done to it. You probably see a few more pictures on that one. But they try to make you feel that it's a Victorian thing when it's not. It was not Victorian.
Well, when they don't know what it is, they fabricate a story and then they try to stick with it. And even when you point out flaws in the story, they just try to change the story a little.
Yeah, that's, you know, I have the same problem. You know, when people don't believe you or don't understand, you know, like you wanted to make that video to make sure everybody understood that your view was that it was a machine. And now I have the same thing with the circling sun. I have never seen the sun circle in my life. And I look east. And because I make videos, and sometimes I've had hangouts very late and the whole thing, and, you know, I'm up till dawn, I've watched how the sun comes in from, it's on the right, say, in the winter, and then it comes left in the summer, and now it's going back right by going down to the left part, southern part of that, because it does that every year, you know, it goes up and down. That's how the sun works. And people don't even notice that the sun moves in the sky, but it does. It goes on these tracks you can see, because every day, more or less, well, it does different things, and it comes in at a different height. Sometimes the moon comes up north for 4 or 5 days and then carries on wherever it is a bit much more south. And it goes like this. So I just don't understand how they make the analemmas and say this is the projection of the sun and the moon in a month, when it doesn't do all that. I see it here from my window. You know, I've been looking at it since 2017 out this window. It's in a perfect place because I can be making a video and think, oh, just check that moon again, or just check that again, or just check where the sun is. You know, you can do all that because it looks east. So I have the same thing because people don't, you know, those that believe it's circling are just going to believe it's circling, but I've never seen it. If it's doing anything, it's more like it's doing triangles, which would fit into the land we are, because I think we're on a star map of some kind where the Union Jack fits on top of it. And then the land, you know, like Gillian doesn't see certain stars. She sees southern stars, but she never ever sees Polaris or anything like that. But she wouldn't do if she's in the leg of the star, would she? She's not going to see Polaris. And 3/4 of the world sits on the northern hemisphere. Only a third of the world sits on the bottom part. And that lot see different stars. And that's because all the bits that they're showing is not. So the northern hemisphere is us. Anything in the southern hemisphere is in the legs of the star. It's just going to be different for everybody there, but that's just my research, what I've found. But I'm still showing Silbury Hill. What shall I show now? Tell me to pick a picture and then we'll talk about it.
Pick a picture, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, pick a subject. I'll pick a picture and then we'll talk about it.
Why don't you pull up some of the mountains in Illinois? I think there are 7 or 8 of them.
I will do that. Hang on. You'd gone to see the mounds. These are the mounds of Illinois. Some of them look like they were buildings. I'm just going to show you. But that one looks like a pyramid. That one's quite squared off. Let's go. Oh, my mouse isn't there. Look at that. That looks like a building was there. But then that one's got loads of steps going up it. Oh, my God. That would have been a pyramid, wouldn't it? With the steps. Sorry. It's not then? Angel.
Right, but if you notice everything around it is flat. Illinois is like flat. It is big. It is open. There's no natural mountains or anything there, and then all of a sudden they have these piles of dirt.
The mystery of the, what is it called? The Cahokia Mounds. Cahokia Mounds.
Yeah, they say some.
That sounds more Mexican,
Indians
doesn't it? That sounds like they were Mexican.
Well, the Indians may have been Mexican. I don't know, but they want to say that some Indian tribes did it, and I will tell you that I don't believe that Indian tribes did this. I think they have much more meaning. There's a gentleman named Karl Monk that has actually, in his opinion, I don't completely disbelieve him, can explain how to mathematically read the structures from elevation. They're mathematical equations in physical form, and they give you their
There's a few of them, isn't there? I'm looking at a more aerial picture.
I think there's 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah. I mean, that, when you look at that, I must admit, when you look at this one here with the picture they've taken here, it looks like it was a tree stump.
Well, it would be a big tree stump.
Yeah, but they weren't. Supposedly, you know, everybody believes we had big trees, but there it just looks more like a tree stump. But yeah, I've never heard of them before. I bet you wish you'd gone now.
Yeah, I do wish I had gone. I kind of wish I had seen them, because the way she described them, and I never heard of it. This was before I even was into the pyramids. I was still of the belief that some, pharaohs did this, and it pointed to certain stars and stuff like that. And at the time, I probably still thought that, no, actually it was before 9/11, so I didn't even think that 2 planes brought down 3 buildings. But it would have been when was it? It was the mid-90s when I was there. And it was, I was not awake to a bunch of stuff at the time.
I know,
And the
it's
way
annoying,
she
isn't it?
described them
It's
was,
annoying what you know now. Oh, if only I'd realised then, I'd have done things a bit differently.
yes, yes. Well, I was here in the middle of Illinois.
You
I'm
could
like,
always
what's
go,
there
though,
to do?
to those ones, couldn't you? Just go for a weekend.
I could, yes, yes. It is conceivably possible that I could go for a weekend.
Hmm.
But, it's like if I was at your house and you said, hey, you want to go get some coffee or look at some piles of dirt? I'm like, let's go get coffee.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Especially when you're younger.
You know.
What do I want to look at her for? I just want a coffee. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
do
like,
you
you want
think
to
they
get
were?
some
What
hot
do you think
dogs?
they are? Do you think they were like? They look. I mean, they look like they're
Well,
set out like
I'll tell
they're
you.
pyramids without the top on them.
I'll tell you what I think they are, is when you're at altitude, 1,000 feet up, in either a aircraft or I believe they were using dirigibles, like Zeppelins, and what you would do is they were waypoints, and not were they not just a waypoint, like you look down and say, oh, there's, the Hoover Dam, but you would look down and you could mathematically read what it is, and it tells you where it is on the surface of the Earth mathematically by you could say longitude and latitude, but it's really more a grid number. And
so what does that mean
that
then?
grid number. Well, are you familiar with Carl Monk and his book and videos called The Pyramid Matrix, The Code?
Right.
Okay. Well, I've mentioned to you before, but there's a guy named Carl
Yes,
Monk.
I know you have. Yes, carry on.
And basically what it is it uses the same way that we use GPS, the longitude and latitude, 360
Oh my God! You mean
degrees around
they had that then? Yes.
I believe they did. Because they understood. Now, Carl feels and has interpreted it onto a global sphere. However, if you kind of used David Weiss's map that he has, his solar chart, or the AE map, it does the same thing, and it works out the same.
Do you know what it kind of looks a bit like as well, with the shape of it? Like it might have been a star fort.
Well, I think they're just honestly filled with dirt. I don't think there's anything in them. I do believe they are just a way from to read where you are. Kind of like if you were on a boat in the middle of a
Take her. Sorry, Ellie, take the dog because she's snoring and making a lot of noise. No, take her.
if you're on a boat in the middle of
Right, carry on. Sorry.
A harbor and you come across one of the buoys, they would have a buoy number, and you take the buoy number and look on a map to figure out where you are. However, instead, if the buoy numbers, instead of just having a number on it, they had you're at 39 degrees north and 84 degrees east, you would know where you are by your grid number. And the shapes mathematically tell you what grid number you're at, which would be the same as the longitude and latitude.
There's a picture here, you can see how flat it is. But there are so many states in America, they're as flat as a pancake.
Yeah, there are. Illinois is one of the flatter ones.
When the states are as flat as pancakes.
Because you believe what you're told, that you can only see so many miles, and the curvature is so slight that you can't see it with your naked eye.
There is one here, by the way, that's actually a square, and it's got a top on it, and that looks quite pyramid-like. Oh, I see, it's that one. It's the same one. That looks a bit. It also looks a bit star fort-like with leaves.
I talked to somebody who not that long ago, who was actually in an F-35 fighter jet thing, and he said he went up so high he could see the curvature of the Earth. And I said, well, how is this possible when it is documented that people like Neil Lying to Your Ass Tyson even say that you can't see the curvature of the Earth from way up there, but yet you say you did. Well, I did. And I'm like, no, I think you mentally think you did, and it makes you feel special that you were up that high and you say you did. But I bet you if you'd actually looked at either side of the canopy, you would have noticed that the Earth came up to the horizon.
It might be in the glass in the plane that did it.
I'm sorry, say it again?
The glass in the plane is, it might be the glass in the plane that did it.
Well, right, but if you took the time, if he actually took the time while he was flying there,
if he believes in a globe, he sees a globe.
Right.
But we don't, and
he
it's
sees
flat.
what he did. I get that, but again, if he was just sitting there and he looked out to the left and looked out to the right, he would have noticed that the Earth came up right to the horizon, and that would not happen if he was on a globe. It always comes to the horizon. If he had actually taken the time to do that, I would like somebody to go up in one of these planes as high as they could go, and actually take like a 360 camera and hold it up at head level and show that image, because then people could look to the right and look to the left and see that the horizon comes up to the edge of the plane. And you can see
that the horizon, in anything they do, even with NASA, the horizon comes up. Even with NASA.
Right. But no one has taken the time to take a 360 camera and do this.
It's frustrating, isn't it, Angel?
It would put more doubt into people's minds about the globe, because honestly, the globe needs to be broken. It is a lie that they've been shoving down our throats for a long time, and I feel they're doing it because they want us to feel insignificant in the big picture, when really we are all individually very significant.
But you have also said something, Ellie's here right now. I tried to say to Ellie, I don't lie to you, I just tried to tell you the truth. She said, I'm not interested. I don't want to believe in it that way, I just don't want to know. And you didn't, because otherwise you'd have gone and seen the mounds, because you were younger then. I suppose it's just suddenly, maybe when you're a bit older, or you've got children, or something happens, and then suddenly you think, that doesn't look right. I
didn't even know what the mounds were. I had never heard of them. It's like if the first time I came to your house, I knew nothing about the hill. I knew nothing about what was the other one you called? Merlin's Mountain or whatever.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about it. You said, hey, do you want to go see a mound that's down the street? And I said, well, what is it? You said it's a pile of dirt. Or would you like to go out to the coffee shop and see an open mic night and get some tea? I'd be like, let's go get some open mic night, see some tea. I would have no interest in seeing a pile of dirt.
These mounds in England, the British Heritage will have them, and everything would be different about it. And they're pretending they're just mounds when they obviously were something.
Yes, and I feel that they were probably much more significant.
And a bit pyramid-like at the same time. They look like pyramids and Star
Wars,
all in one.
Again, this really goes back to my question, is where do you draw the line between a monolithic structure and a pyramid? What in your mind, it makes something
But they would never want people to believe that
definition?
That you had pyramids or anything like that in the USA. They wouldn't want you to believe that, would they? They don't even want Americans to know that you've got castles when you do. Even Amy, you've got so much history. And over the last few years, I said, Amy, you've got just as much history as we have.
Well, you know what we have that's also quite interesting? And it's actually up in the area I am now, up in Maine and Vermont.
What is it? I'll look that one up. What is it?
Is they have these, they're not quite tunnels, but they're dugouts.
Florida. Where do you live?
Well, no. They're up in Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, up in the northeast corner. And I'm trying to think what they call them, but what they are is these hollow voids in the earth that are usually like 30 feet round and maybe 9
Mysterious
feet tall.
Florida tunnels. They're brick.
Well, again, you're looking in Florida, which is fine and wonderful. There's things in Florida that are mysterious, but I'm referring to ones up in Vermont and
Let me look up
Connecticut
Vermont, because that is
and Massachusetts.
Vermont main tunnels. Let's have a look what it shows me.
Well,
that's a train tunnel. That one's a train tunnel.
There are lots of those.
Empty, of course.
We're saturated with trains.
The cryptic tunnel. The tunnel under a toe. Tunnels beneath Virginia Tech. The cryptic tunnels. So what do they look like? Do they look like trains? Oh, there you go. What's this? Oh, that's a quarry, that one.
They're not tunnels. They're just, the best way I could say is vacuoles. But,
how do you spell that then?
The vacuoles? It's a good question. It's a biology thing. I don't know how to spell vacuoles. I just know what they are. Vacuoles are the things in your cell where the nutrition goes into it and then gets sucked into your cell. But they call them...
Well, it's not showing me anything. Oh, hang on. What's that there? Let's have a look. Hang on. Low voltage scanning. No, it doesn't show me anything for that. Vermont main vacuoles.
Well, they don't call them vacuoles.
Oh,
I call them
what do they call them then?
I don't know what they call them. I just know they exist.
Are they caves?
Call them caves. Call them caves. See what comes up.
I'm looking.
But they are done.
Oh, well, I'm looking at cave. Arthur Park. That's got like a tunnel in the rocks.
They're done with a stone structure that they piled the stones in such a way that it makes a dome, a stone dome, and then the earth is above it.
Oh, let's have a look then. I'll take that out and I'll put that and I'll put stone. I'm not finding anything. Dome. You might have to send me a picture.
I will have to find it.
There you go. Well, there's one. Vermont's mysterious stone chambers. There, I found it.
Stone chambers. There, that would work.
Right, there it is. I'm going to put... So I was going to stop a minute. I'm going to open the page up on that. 1 second, Angel. So there's a picture of these chambers. Carry on now, Angel.
Now, I don't really say that it'd be for storing food because some of the openings are only like 24 inches, like a 24-inch circle. You'd have to like crawl through to get in and out, and that would not be very convenient for storing.
So why would the doorways be so small?
That is a very interesting question.
They've got no windows, though, have they? They're just little. They look like food things to me.
They are usually found on the side of like a hill, where there's like a 24-inch little rabbit hole. That when you crawl in there, you come into an opening, which is usually it's nice and big, like 30 feet round and about 9 feet tall. You can stand up in it.
A bit. In somewhere like Sardinia or whatever it is, it's on the channel. This woman did them at these little tiny houses, but some of them don't have windows, and it's just like she can hardly crawl in them. They're so small. Maybe they were the same as this.
Right, but it's not. It really isn't constructed in such a way that I would think people would have lived in there, because unlike places where people live, there's no hole in the corner to defecate.
No, I told you what I think they're for. I think they were for putting food in.
Well, you're welcome to have that opinion.
That's the old fridges.
But it really isn't constructed.
I mean, that one's under the ground.
That one goes straight.
That one goes straight down. There's one there. Look, that one's under the ground. Well, I've never heard of them before either. But when you start looking into things, you realise that you don't know very much anyway. All this stuff comes out that you thought you knew, but you don't know anything.
I think what's really amazing is when you actually... There's hundreds of them, not just a few, but hundreds of them. And they're constructed in such a way that the rock is piled in such a way that you could practically drive like bulldozers and stuff over the top of them, and they still hold the weight of this. They are extraordinarily
strong,
well constructed. You know,
it says
it's
here,
not like somebody just went in there with a shovel and started digging it out.
It tells you it's 4 miles east of, what's that, route, I don't know, I think that's 3, but I don't know what hill, it must be hill, is a privately owned complex of strange stone structures bearing similarities to early stonework found in Western Europe. They suggest an ancient culture may have established here more than it'll be thousands of years ago, hasn't it? 2,000 years ago, sometimes called America's Stonehenge. These intriguing chambers hold a fascinating story and could be remnants of whatever that is, pre-Viking or even whatever that is, I don't know what that is. Can't read the last few words. But yeah, that's what they're saying there on that. But we have all this, don't we? We've got all those abandoned kilns, and there's no history behind it about why they've been abandoned, what they were for, and all that. I mean, there must be, because my mum got some information about a relative in the 1800s. And listen to this, I might have told you, but one of my relatives crowned one of the kings in Scotland in the 1300s. I mean, that's pretty damn royal, isn't it? Apart from being the royal family, if you crown the king, and he was an archbishop. But then after that, he seemed to go to France and was fighting around in there, and I wondered whether he was a Knight Templar. And he didn't have any children, but whatever, the history is that he crowned, I think it's King David, it was in about the 1300s. And I was like, bloody hell, like, wow, my mum thought she was just Welsh, but it means that her family came from they moved from Scotland down to Wales. But I just thought that was quite, it was written down, 1856 or something it was done. So they did have the information. They do know what all these things are. It's all written down somehow. But you know, don't you, 3/4 of America is like abandoned. And there's places in England, places everywhere. It's all abandoned. We just live in an abandoned place where they keep moving us around.
There is a lot of the United States that is empty. Yes. There's a lot of nothingness.
Well, that's very interesting. I never heard of them before. I've got to the end of the pictures now, but I've never heard of them before either. Yeah, we're on a history lesson with Angel. He doesn't like that very much. I said, even Mickey thinks that you're so well. Oh, I don't know what the word is, but you do it so well that anybody would believe you were a lecturer.
Well, I've tried to look into a bunch of weird stuff, and I've tried to figure out what some of these things are for. And some of them, it's just they're not. I don't think they're in any way for storing food, because they're not constructed in a way that would be convenient for storing food. They're not in a way that would be convenient. So
what would they be used for then?
I don't know.
Do you think they're animal sheds?
I just know that.
I mean, that one there looks a bit more like a pyramid, the one on the right top. I'm not saying it is, but it just looks a bit more like that little pyramid next to the little pyramids. But do you think they put the animals in there?
I don't think so.
Why would they have doorways?
Huh?
They've all got doorways.
There is an opening, yes, but I mean, I wouldn't call it a doorway. Sometimes it's like a 3-foot tunnel that's only like 24 inches wide. You kind of have to like wiggle your way through there. That's not convenient for going in and out. It's not convenient for putting food in. You wouldn't want to shove your animals in there, because how you get them back out again? It's like,
Yeah, they're in there and they can't get back out. Is there anywhere else in America you can tell us about then, Angel?
Oh, there's probably lots of stuff that even I don't know. I do know that somewhere in the middle of one of our states, like Ohio or something like that, there is a S-shaped rock pattern that kind of looks a lot in rock like some of your crop circles.
Oh, right. I'll just put S-shaped pattern in the rocks. Let's see what it does. there's some pebbles. I don't see anything. Oh, in USA, I'll put in. Where did you say it was?
It's in the U.S. It's like somewhere like Ohio or something like that, and it is kind of like the Nazca line, where it's like 5 miles long, and again,
it's not showing me anything.
It can really only be seen from altitude. If you're standing on top of it, you don't even realize what you're standing near, because you can't see it unless you're way up in the air.
I don't see it in the pickies. Do you think it's where a river went? What's it called? Tell me what it's called, and I'll look it up.
I don't know what it's called. You got me there.
I put S. Oh, let's have a look. It hasn't got it. Hang on. Let me just put S shaped. It would help if I put a in the. Let's try again. No, it doesn't want to give me anything. Oh, what's that one there? Let's have a look. Antarctic. It doesn't want to give me anything. I said USA. It doesn't give me anything.
I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to reference it. But it doesn't mean I don't know it exists.
Anything else to look up then? What about something in one of the pyramids you'd like to talk about?
Well, there's a gentleman, you could probably find this. Look up Land of Chem, C-H-E-M. And there's a gentleman in his, I'd say, 30s that has, in my opinion, kind of figured out what I believe it's the bent pyramid, what its function is. And I think he's pretty much onto it. I was mentioning this the other day, however,
I see.
He embellishes certain parts.
Alchemical.
Yep. He embellishes certain of the features, and I think if he would embellish less and really stick to, what nature would do and how nature would work.
Yeah, he's got T-shirts.
He'd be more believable.
He's selling T-shirts and things.
When you embellish too much, you open up the door for people to say, "Well, that's poppycock." If you don't embellish,
Angel, he's selling T-shirts.
That's poppycock when you're.
So he's selling T-shirts and things, which means he's making money.
Well, he is. He's trying to make money. I'm not going to say he isn't. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe that he's really on the right path. You
like what he does. He's got a picture there of inside something there, the Land of Chem. Don't know quite what that is.
Yep.
So it's always good because, every now and again someone throws things up, and even if we're wrong, it might lead on to something else, mightn't it?
Right. And he has his vision of what the Great Pyramid did, but I think he's a little bit off on that. I think he's actually a lot off on that because, like so many other people, his theory requires pieces that obviously don't exist. It's like, well, if we put a nuclear transformer here and put a huge, arc chamber there, it's like, but it's not there. Therefore, that's not what it did. None of these people would work as a real investigator, and well, if the murderer had used a laser and done this, but they didn't. Therefore, that's not the. You're going to get yourself into court, and people are going to be like, "Well, that's not conceivably possible."
Hey, Christian, where's the red? Christian, I've done it again. I'm really sorry. I know you're Angel. Stop it, Karen.
It's north of the Great Giza Pyramid.
The red pyramid. We'll just look at that. I can just see it. He's got all these things about him, and then it says Red Pyramid.
Yeah, I think the red one is also the bent one. It's one and the same, I believe.
Oh, so that's one of the Great Giza Pyramid ones.
It's not one of the ones on the Giza Plateau.
Oh, right. So
however,
that one,
it is still in the Cairo area.
Oh, is this these pyramids? See, they go on and on and on about these pyramids. I wonder if one sec. I'm just going to see if I can find it. 1 second. You love these pyramids, don't you? The Giza pyramids.
Yes, I do.
Love them. Why don't you want to include the other ones?
Well, I tell you, the true answer for that is, how many of them are there hundreds and hundreds of pictures of?
Right.
Right. The only one that there's hundreds and hundreds of pictures of is the Great Giza Pyramid. So it's the easiest one to actually virtually explore.
I go see her. There it is. Is there
Now,
just
what are
one?
the
Is there
other
just
ones
one
that are-
there? Is there just one pyramid there? Oh no, there's more. There you go. The pyramid or whatever that is. What? And then as you keep going down, there's more of them. I never knew that till maybe 2 months ago. I'd never realised that there was more pyramids down the Nile. So they know the water couldn't have... There you go, there's another one. The Pyramid of Pepi too. How far apart do you reckon they are?
Oh, some of them are hundreds of miles away from each other.
No, these ones. There's the white pyramid and the red pyramid. See, they're further down.
Again, you're not sharing your screen, so I
Oh
can't.
no, all I'm doing is going over Google Earth and just going down the Nile. Look, there's another one. The Temple of whatever that is. There's the Black Pyramid.
Right.
So just going down to show you that there's... I can't even say that one. The Ame, whatever that is, pyramid. No, right. So why don't you include quite a few? But they must be doing the same thing as the other one.
No, I'm not going to admit to that, because structures and internal configurations. Therefore, they're not doing the same thing.
Right. Well, anyway, there's loads of them going down the Nile. Everybody look them up yourself. Yeah. Angel said there's about 30 of them. But these ones, which should I look at the black one or the Pyramid of Dosia? Should we look at that one? That's the closest one. But of course, this is further down.
Unless you refer to them doing the same thing as being waypoints, in which case I'll almost agree with that.
Or that these pyramids it comes out of the Gizas and then it gets piped to here and then piped on and piped on and piped on. We talked about that last time, that maybe that's what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's got lines round that one as well. I was waiting for the picture to catch up because it always takes ages on here. There you go. We live in a strange place, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We can't even work it out. Floss, stop snoring. Stop it. Damn dog. Yeah. Yeah, you usually have a problem with the dog, don't you? It's me today. She's snoring. So what I mean is, you could have liked some of the other pyramids, but you don't think they're doing the same thing, so...
Well, what I started with is, I really started down the rabbit hole, because I started to follow Chris Dunn in his book. But then I really felt that his book wasn't telling the truth. And when you look at what and how and why he says things are occurring, I felt that his story really didn't hold water. And the more I looked into it, and, you know, it's like if somebody said that the robber broke in through the back door and went into the kitchen and ate a hot dog and then went upstairs and stole the jewelry. But then you go to the house and the back door has no damage, and the hot dog package is still sealed. Don't make sense. You know, they'll say, for instance, Chris Dunn likes to say that there were things hanging from the Grand Gallery, but yet there's no anchor marks or anything that show where something would have gripped the walls of the Grand Gallery. No screw holes, that agrees with his idea of what the structure was used for. And what I really did is I tried to explore the structure as much as I could using photos, and luckily there are people who allowed me to have their GoPro videos. In fact, if you go to GoPro2015.giza.ws, there's like a 90-minute video by a guy who I can't remember his name. It was like Anthony or something like that, who gave me a copy of his GoPro video in high def. And I've looked at that, and I've looked at half a dozen other people and their videos, but he's the only one that I actually had a real conversation with. And I've looked at these videos, and I've explored it myself. I've also pointed out to you, Bren Forrester and his videos, where he goes through it with his cameras and stuff. And I've let the structure tell me the story. I mean, just assuming, just a little bit of assumption of two different gases originating in two different locations within the structure, and then what those gases would do, just, following how they would percolate through the structure. And the structure has told me the story. I'm not trying to make pieces and parts up. I'm not trying to fabricate things that don't exist. I point out things that do exist, features within the structure that do exist. And that's really all I've tried to do, is come to a rational answer as opposed to a fabricated answer. And if the structure works the way just it works, the features that are there, the way that the external of the structures are constructed, they make sense as to why they're constructed that way, if it works the way I suggest it works. Now, if it's a monument to a pharaoh, none of them, but I don't think it's a monument to a pharaoh. I don't think it's a place for alien spaceships to land. I don't think it's a place where dinosaurs would seek any of that, is the truth.
So I'm trying to get in to look at a pyramid. I'm not doing very well here. Everybody's seeing something blurry, but we'll just get about there. That'll do. I need to go down because I want to. You did a few hangouts with us where you went down on Google Maps and showed us it through Google Maps. Come on, go down.
If you take your Google map and grab the guy in the corner and drop it on the plateau.
Yeah, I did that, but it didn't happen. He keeps going back. Let's put him in there. I've got him hanging. Is he going to go? He's just hanging in there. He's not doing anything. He don't want to do anything, Angel.
It's on the other side of the Nile River in Cairo, and they call it the Serapeum or something like that.
Oh, you want me to look that up? Okay, hang on. Let me just. I think we'll get out of maps. We'll do. Hang on a second. I've got to start again because I've gone to maps. Hang on. I gave up on Google Maps. I've got it up.
S-E-R-A-P-E-U-M.
Yeah, of Saqqara or whatever it is. But what it was, I wanted to show you the pyramids in maps, but it just took so long to come up. We've moved now. We've moved on to the Serapeum of I can't even say that word. What's Saqqara?
Saqqara?
That's it. Yeah, Saqqara. There you go. Oh, it's got it's got a big lump of what's the name in it, hasn't it? It's got a big tomb in it.
This is something else.
Wow, yeah.
This is, I just looked up that word, and that looks like the middle of a field. That's not what I'm looking for. The one, and they're probably words that are spelled similar. The one I'm talking about it's in Cairo. It's on the other side of the Nile from the Giza pyramids.
Showing Serapeum in Cairo. Serapeum in whatever it is.
Okay, then you're looking at a different one than I just tried to spell the word and it came up.
But this place is quite crazy because there's a great big tomb thing in it.
If you want to consider it a tomb.
Well, whatever it is, big black box.
There's 20 some of them, 23 of them, 20 So, and they actually quarantine off a certain section of it, so there actually may be more. But
do you think they're batteries?
They are. I think the entire structure is a battery, and each of those are a cell in a battery.
Wow, big battery then.
Yes.
But that be for obviously giving the people electricity and things.
Well, it could have been used for, you could say the people, but I think it probably would have been more industrial. But
so when you see these, they had to have some kind of technology. They had to have a fairly good technology to be able to use all these.
Yes, I do believe that it documents their knowledge of electricity, their knowledge of how to utilize electricity.
But it wasn't the Egyptians, it was before the Egyptians again, wasn't it?
I believe it was before the Egyptians, and I really think it puts a spin on our history that we have been force-fed a pile of poppycock because they want to believe that we are currently the most knowledgeable generation.
Yeah, all we've done is ruin the knowledge.
I think it's like Graham Hancock says that we are a civilization in amnesia, I believe is his term, and I don't think he's very far off from that.
No, I mean with him, we have on a hangout. He just said he liked showing the people the stuff. He didn't think it was his place to say, "Oh, it definitely is this and this." He just liked showing people and just waking people up that way.
You've interviewed Graham Hancock?
Not him, no, Brian Forrester.
You interviewed Brian Forrester.
Yeah,
well, Hancock also, I believe, pretty knowledgeable. I don't believe either of their conclusions, but I do follow their findings. I just don't follow their conclusions because both of them are stuck in the tomb dogma.
If these things are like batteries, then this plant was quite big. Nobody lived there at that point, did they? It would have just been a plant.
They would not have lived in there, no. If you were in there, you would really kind of be in a pretty shocking situation.
What, because you'd be electrocuted?
Well, technically, no. If you want to get into it, I mean, Tesla used to hang out in rooms filled with static electricity. As long as you are not the conduit between different voltages, you could live there, but I don't think you'd want to live there.
No.
You don't.
What are you doing?
And also,
we can hear what you're doing. What are you doing?
To be honest, I'm opening up Dr. Scholl's feetwear, and I'm fixing a pair of shoes while we're talking. But I will stop doing that.
You've got a den of iniquity down there, haven't you? In that basement where you live. He's got a snooker table where he could actually build a smaller version of the pyramids and stick it on there.
I do.
And every piece of machinery that he has been given is in there. The phones from 20 years ago. But I enjoyed seeing your basement. It's nice sometimes. We talked to you and then you showed me where you lived.
I still have a rotary dial phone.
You still have a what?
A rotary dial phone. Can't really use it nowadays, but I still own it.
Ah. Should we do one more place? Because I've got to go to the girls. Should we do one more place and then we'll finish? Hang on. Well, asked Angel what was a place that intrigued him away from some dreams. You're probably in your dreams. You go walking around the pyramids, don't you? But you like this place. So why do you like this place?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the gentleman who made it, Ed Lee Stallman, I believe had a good grasp of the knowledge of electricity as well. In addition to that, he also had a good knowledge of the celestial bodies and how to use. For instance, let me do this. In the Bible, it is said at the time Christ was born that certain stars were in certain positions in the sky, right?
Yeah.
We could use a program like Solarium or something like that, or whatever it's called, and if we reposition those stars in the sky where the Bible says they were, it will give us a time, within like a year or so, of when the Christ child was born. And those patterns in the sky will only repeat once every, what do they say, a great year is 32,000 years or 23,000 years or something like that. So that you could kind of be able to tell when something occurred by knowing what celestial bodies were where in the sky. And one thing I'd like to point out is if we still read time by paying attention to the celestial bodies, we would tell time ourselves as opposed to now where the government tells us what time it is. And they have the ability to change. They can say, oh, we're going to drop
quite near water then.
It's not nearly very much near water per se. It's maybe 40, 50 miles from the ocean.
I thought it was showing that it was near water. Sorry, that was my mistake. Yeah, it's a bit strange, this place. But he could have been experimenting, this man, couldn't he?
Yeah, there is a moat around it, but that's more like a man-made water than
well, maybe they're showing me
water source
somewhere else, but
again, I can't see what you're seeing.
No, I'm just looking at the pictures. I'm just looking overly at the pictures on the internet. Core Castle in Minecraft, it is, isn't it? Or is that's a game? That one's a game or something.
It's in Homestead, Florida.
Yeah, no, I've got all the pictures up, but they're in it. Yeah, Fortnite is a cartoon thing. Don't worry. Yeah, and that place interests you. It is a bit strange. It's that dull colour again, isn't it? It's that colour again. It's grey.
Go with that. Yeah, it's coral. It is made of coral. Here, I'll send you a quick image.
Okay,
there.
I'll get Angel's one. Hang on. Oh, I see it. Does that phone work, Angel?
The phone would be functioning if I had a landline.
Oh,
but
right.
I haven't had a landline in a decade. How old is the phone?
That looks quite old, that phone.
That phone I had in my bathroom as a child.
Right.
Yes, I had a phone in the bathroom.
Right, I'm putting this picture up because it was actually that's the picture we want. Yes, that's what I had, darling Angel. Do you like those things that look a bit like, what are they, spanners?
Well, what it is there are, I think, like 6 different sections, and each section represents a constellation.
Right.
And there's one where there's the Gemini, there's the twin thing, and like each section distinctly represents a constellation. And in each of the sections, there's a spot where you can look up into the sky. Like there'll be a hole in the rock where if you look through it, it goes up into the sky. When the constellations all marry the holes in the rock was a specific time was a specific date in time.
Right.
It happened to be, I believe it was like, I'm just going to throw a number up there, like September 15th, 1842 or something like that. And it was the date of birth of a girl that he was in love with. He also referred to it as the Sweet 16. But in order to, that time would never reoccur again for 23,000 years. But it would show that if you could re-put those stars, the constellations, and the stars that it refers to, in those pinholes, that you would be at that date in time. And it, like I was trying to get to, is if we read time ourselves, then the government couldn't dictate time to us. And I really feel that it is quite possible within a generation of people not paying attention to the sky, that they could turn around and tell us that the year is, 4848. And who's going to argue? They can tell us whatever date they want to tell us, because we're not reading time from the celestial bodies. We're being told time by the phone in our hands. And I'll tell you one other gripe that has bugged me for the past half a decade, probably more like a decade, is that when you look at old...
So you did send me a picture of the dog.
I had sent you a picture of the dog earlier.
And then I got a picture of you on the phone.
That we were telling time as BC and AD, before Christ and Anno Domini, year of the Lord. Recently, they have started to, when you look at history books and stuff, they call it BCE and CE. And I have a big gripe with those terminology, because that's before current era and current era.
Right.
And the problem is, the current era, as I see it, really started at about 4000 BCE, not 0 AD,
Right, okay, yeah.
AD. So they have decided to get rid of God by taking BC and AD out of the picture and stuck in there BCE, before current era, and CE, current era. But the 0 time they picked, I don't agree with. And what's to say that a decade from now they don't say, oh, we decided to change CE to actually be 4,000 years before that. So instead of the year being,
Do you think they're just
20...
changing our history underneath and we're just not noticing? You notice things, but it would have read something else a few years ago. And then this is how they change our history. And then when people go to the internet, that's all they see.
Well, they could do that too, but what I'm getting at is they can change our numerical system, how we measure time, just like the Pope Gregory did in the 1500s or whenever it was, 1200s, when Pope Gregory decided to, instead of having the year start when the celestial bodies returned back to their 0 position, he started measuring it based off the sun, pagan worshipping, sun worshipping. So we don't follow the celestial bodies, we follow the sun now. The sun dictates when our year starts, not the celestial bodies. Now, people will point out that, well, it's only a 3-hour difference or something as to the length of the year. But if you take 3 hours and you multiply that by 1,000 years, I'm sorry, but that's 3,000 hours. So things won't line up. On Christmas, the Christmas star isn't going to be the Christmas star anymore. The Christmas star will start to be like in September, and then August, and then July.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think that they do the harping to make the temperature a certain temperature, but really, our seasons are out of kilter now. I've got crocuses up in the garden again. They come up in March. Because
we're not calculating time in harmony with nature.
13. It's not 12 signs, is it? It's 13, and that would match up to the moon then, because the moon does it so many times extra.
It would also match up with the Jewish calendar.
We're missing a month calendar. We're missing a month of astrology.
It would also match up with the Jewish calendar, which I believe has 13 months. and their months were 28 days or something like that. But they were much more calculating time in harmony with nature. And the Romans, and I understand their rationale for doing it, but the Romans wanted, for reasons of taxation and debt collection, they wanted to standardize a time, a chronological device. They wanted to standardize something. But they standardized it in the best interests of man, not in the best interests of nature. And we are falling out of sync with nature, how we calculate time. And the more we keep changing things, not that are 0 year currently is the same 0 year as AD and BC, but we've changed the words, and now they're not in sync with, something which is a time that we can prove or at least calculate based on where the celestial bodies were at the given time, but it's something which is more whenever they want to tell us it is, because it's no longer synced with nature. So they can say, BCE we're going to say was, 3600 BC is now current era. We're going to change there. And then all of a sudden our year changes.
Well, there's 1,000 years. There's something wrong with 1,000 years. 1,000 years not right. I don't know. It's so hard because I've kind of worked out that they were a lot more advanced before. Maybe the big buildings were the one King George, which got the corporation to England. And then when you think about that, you think, well, maybe Henry VIII was riding around in a car or something like that, because to build the buildings that they did, they had to be far more advanced. So it's all a bit strange, isn't it?
Right. All I'm trying to point out is we the people are allowing our government to dictate time to us, as opposed to we read time from nature. And the more control we give to our government, the more control our government will gladly assume.
And very quickly, because we're going to finish shortly, but you did quite like my portal video, didn't you? Well, it wasn't mine, I just put it out. You thought that was interesting, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, you mean? I've just put loads of video. Anyway, it's about 3 or 4 days ago, but I don't know. I thought that's what they were into anyway, but then I thought it was the Egyptians, but I don't think it's them. I think it's the ones that were before them.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that, yes.
Yeah, you thought that was interesting, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But it could have been, let's go to the pyramids. Where do you want to go? Oh, let's go to England. Portal. Woof, you're there. Hey, I'm in England now. I don't know if you can do that, but yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed this chat. Thank you for giving us your mind again, Lecturer Angel.
Well, thank you. You have a great day and have fun this evening.
Yeah, what it is we'll just say goodbye for the hangout, and then we'll say goodbye to each other afterwards. But I'm just showing you those pictures of Angel. He sent them when I was talking about floss. But thank you so much for your mind. Thank you, chat room. Yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you very much, Angel, and thank you, chat room. And
just take care of my mind, because I won't always have it.
It's documented now. I've got a bit of your mind now. Yeah, anyway, thanks a lot, Angel.
No problem.